Alright, guys, today we're going to be talking about the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic. Whoa. My god. Today we're going to be talking about the Orlando Magic and how much of an embarrassment of an organization they are. I am so happy that I waited till the series was over to talk my shit because once the Magic, I'm going to fucking wait. I'm going to keep that off for later. If you guys don't watch basketball, my audience, this is the Orlando Magic. They are a basketball team and an NBA team who are full of hoopers, which that's good. They're good hoopers. Can't complain. But what happened recently? Oh my god, it just angers me. So as you guys know, I made a video talking about the play-in, who's in and who's out, and I predicted that the Orlando Magic were going to lose to the Sixers and win the 8th seed game, which I was right. They lost to the Sixers and they beat the Hornets to make the playoffs. So it's good. Magic are in the playoffs and just to get their ass kicked, but at least you made it, which they got off to a hot start. They were up 3-1 in the playoffs. And my god, everything was just going well for the Orlando Magic. They were up 3-1 in the series. And then, shit was going crazy. And then you drop game 5, which is reasonable. I understand you're not going to win it all. People gave him a pass a little bit for that. It's okay. And then game 6 rolled around. The Orlando Magic had a big fucking lead against the Detroit Pistons going into halftime. And in the second half, they scored a total of 19 points. The Orlando Magic went 45 minutes between made baskets, going scoreless at 8:46 p.m. Eastern to 9:30 p.m. Eastern. The Orlando Magic missed 3 straight shots in a game where you could have beat the Pistons, closed them out, put them away, destroyed all hopes. You failed. And then game 7 rolls around. You get blown out because Detroit had all the momentum going into game 7. You were kind of hanging in the ropes because you just choked a big game 6 and you just die. And the Detroit Pistons were pretty underwhelming this playoffs. You went 7 games against the 8th seed. That's not really a good look for you. And also, there's this one person I want to talk about so much that I really hated during this series. Jalen Duren. My gosh. You are lucky that I waited till game 7 finished, and you are lucky that your team won this series, because if it weren't for your team winning, I would have shat all over you this entire video. This would have been instead of an Orlando Magic video, this would be a Jalen Duren rant video. Because Jalen Duren has been so ass this entire playoffs. And Jalen Duren was going through hell this entire playoffs. First, he was dunked on by a bench player on the Magic. Just straight up postered this man. And on top of you getting owned in the playoffs, and on top of you just being ass this series, your ex-girlfriend, Angel Reese, reposted this video of you getting owned by her current boyfriend. For context, Jalen Duren used to date this WNBA player named Angel Reese. And then they broke up for some whatever reason, not my business, and is dating Wandale Carter, a player for the Orlando Magic. And her ex versus her current boyfriend, going out in the series, that might be crazy. And then Angel Reese reposted this shit. That's when I was so ready for this series to be over in 5, so I can just, my gosh, I was so ready to shit on this man. But the Orlando Magic couldn't do it. They just couldn't finish it. And then now the Detroit Pistons come back 4-3, the Detroit and what goes around comes around, because the Detroit Piston fan base were chanting Angel Reese when Wandale Carter was at the free throw line. Bro, the guy with the bell is insane. Anyways, this isn't about Angel Reese. I don't know. This situation, this just added fuel to the fire of the amount of hell that you would have gotten if you would have lost this series. Wandale Carter, or wrong guy, Jalen Duren. Anyways, all was fun. You know, the Orlando Magic choked a 3-1 series lead. Everything just went completely wrong. And then you fire Jamal Mosley, your current head coach. Which, in all fairness, the Jamal Mosley was already a dead man walking in the series. There was reports going around that says no matter what happens, Jamal Mosley's getting fired no matter how the Orlando Magic do in the playoffs. So even if he probably have won this series, actually no, I feel like if he won this series, he could have made the Orlando Magic's decision much harder to keep him. But choking a 3-1 series lead, yeah, that does not save your job. In fact, this also happened a couple years ago. Not a couple years ago, like 20 years ago, where ironically it was the Detroit Pistons. The Orlando Magic blew a 3-1 series lead to the Detroit Pistons and, lost the series. I think Doc Rivers was the coach at the time. Alright, as for the Orlando Magic, I don't know what you guys have planned in the offseason. You gave up a couple first round picks for actually a lot of them for Desmond Bane. Your roster's more expensive now that, one more year has gone by and, a lot of people got to get paid and shit. You got to look for a new coach, so you got to hope you make the right hire. And, yeah, there's just not much things that I can say to Orlando Magic. Dude, although it won't be a rant video without saying what I had in mind. Dude, I was so ready to, just eat my words. Because when the Orlando Magic went up 3-1, I was getting ready to make a TikTok being like, guys, I said the Orlando Magic were an embarrassment of a team, but here they are, up 3-1 against the number 1 seeded Pistons. I'm going to eat my words here. I'm sorry. I am so happy I waited for this series to be over, because I would have looked 100 times more stupider if I talked before the series was over. So at least I can be grateful that I didn't, jump the gun on this. Blowing a 3-1 lead is very rare. I mean, not really that rare. I mean, it happened. Another 3-1 lead was blown this playoff series. I think the Celtics blew a 3-1 lead against the Sixers, which is kind of insane because they, in history's past, they've owned the Sixers. So that was really insane. That was probably a very impressive 3-1 comeback. I mean, I don't even know what do you say at this point. If you're an Orlando Magic fan and you went through all that 7-game series, going up 3-1, you thought, oh my gosh, we're gonna go to the next round, and then you just flop and die. How do you even come back from this?